F1 drivers are traditionally seen as quite serious and not too jokey or light-hearted in front of the media. Exhibit A, Valtteri Bottas. However, Daniel Ricciardo, aka Danny Rick, currently driving for McLaren, is somebody who subverts the F1 driver stereotype.
Can I get you to tell me who you are and what you do for a job?
I'm Daniel Ricciardo and I'm a car mechanic.
You can see Daniel clearly isn't media trained, doesn't take himself seriously at all. Instead of going with the rational answer, you know, I'm Daniel Ricciardo, I'm an F1 driver, he says he's a car mechanic. He's quite a joker.
Nico
Hülkenberg.
Nico Hülkenberg.
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 Sag's Hülkenberg.
Hülkenberg.
Obviously this was back in 2020 when he was teammates with Nico Hülkenberg at Renault, trying to learn how to pronounce his name, but the way he says it is in the most exaggerated and comical way. And that's exactly the type of character that Daniel is. He's just a very humorous individual that takes everything very lightly.
What do you feel about the season?
Terrible. I want to quit. I'm kidding. Please don't play that.
Once again, you can see another response that Ricciardo has to the media, which is just him kidding around, not being actually serious. It's a breath of fresh air in the F1 paddock because, as I said at the start of this video, a lot of drivers in front of the media are much more media trained with a complete lack of personality or charisma. But Daniel in that clip was the complete opposite, joking around about how he wants to quit and stuff.
Netflix are a real bunch of c***s, aren't they? I'd love for them to play that. They're not going to play that.
The way Daniel just casually roasted the producers and the makers of Drive to Survive once again shows he's someone who doesn't really care. He's quite nonchalant, says whatever he thinks.
Yeah, I think because I just have amazing natural abilities. I'm the epitome of human high performance. It's just hard to be humble.
Daniel gassing himself up there. Not sure if he was being sarcastic or not, but once again the fact that he's over-exaggerating as he usually does, it's just one of the things that just makes him one of the most comical people on the F1 grid.
What happened with your hair?
I don't know, I haven't seen it. Probably, if you've asked me, then it must look shit.
In that clip you could see Danny Rick roasting himself, saying his hair probably looks crap. It just shows he really doesn't take himself seriously in the slightest. Him making a mockery of himself is just really funny to watch because he's so casual about it as well. A lot of people may be reluctant to roast themselves, but with Daniel he couldn't care less.
End of term now, how would you give yourself a grade for the term?
I want to say probably an L for loser. Yeah.
Once again you can see Danny Rick roasting himself, going for the self-violation. As I was saying before, he really is a joker, not just leveling jokes at other people but also leveling jokes at himself. That's what really makes him stand out compared to all the other F1 drivers. Not many Formula 1 drivers would take the piss out of themselves, but because Daniel is a joker, a showman, a comedian almost, one of the funniest people in Formula 1 alongside Günther Steiner.
Ricciardo goes for it again, and he overtakes Bottas.
You can see Ricciardo just casually putting up his middle finger at Valtteri Bottas after overtaking him. We saw previously how he was funny off the track, but in that clip he was obviously funny on the track as well, casually swearing at other drivers when he goes past, instead of just keeping both hands on the wheel, staying focused like a typical F1 driver would.
Have a great race, okay? Love you big.
Yeah. Alright, gangster.
I don't think there's many people out there that would talk like that to their parent, but Daniel, he's built different. The language that he uses to certain people is just funny.
How do you feel being the funniest driver on the grid?
I thank you, I am very funny, I agree. Also very good looking.
Usually a funny person wouldn't say they're funny, but Daniel is an exception. He is actually the rare case of someone who says they're funny and is actually funny. The way he does gas himself up is in a very humorous way.
This is Daniel.
That's childish.
You can see Daniel trying to cover himself up there, saying he didn't put the signature on the back of Lando Norris's shirt, but kind of clear he did. You know, the fact that he's saying, you know, who would do such a thing, it's so childish, etc., when he very well knows that it's him. Once again, just kind of bantering himself.
What are your best moments?
Well, it's a very short list. I mean,
GP2
I
championship?
haven't won anything here, so what can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. I remember that feeling.
In that clip you could see Danny Rick exchanging some banter with his former teammate Nico Hülkenberg, and yeah, you could see him just kind of violating his teammate Nico there for comedic purposes, saying he remembers being in that stage when he wasn't that successful, but now he's kind of past it. He's no longer in that phase anymore, whereas Nico still is.
Right. Testing 3-4, nutsack 5-6.
Once again you can see Daniel really not taking himself seriously at all. He's doing like the testing thing, but then he's like saying just random words like nutsack, etc. Just joking around on the set of Drive to Survive.
Hello, who's that?
Carlos Sainz. McLaren, muy bien.
Obviously Carlos Sainz was Lando Norris's previous teammate at McLaren, and the way Danny Ric was just impersonating him, saying generic Spanish words like muy bien, impersonating other people, doing impressions, etc. He is someone who's full of humour. You can see Daniel trying to wrestle or chokehold the mic there. A normal F1 driver would probably just sit down and do the interview, but Daniel's out here wrestling, playing around with it. Again, just shows when he's in front of the media, he really doesn't take it seriously.
My best highlight is the 1-2 in Monza. I think you can probably just cut to Daniel saying exactly the same thing.
What's your highlight of the season?
Monaco. LOL.
The way Danny Ric just completely subverted Lando's expectations there was just funny. You expect him to do one thing, but then he does the complete opposite. That is Daniel Ricciardo in a nutshell, and it's that just makes him the most hilarious driver in the F1 paddock.